Hi guys! I realized that in almost 2 years of having this channel, I have never sat down and dedicated a video to explaining why I went vegan in the first place. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm going to attempt to do a mukbang. I just made some Asian inspired noodles, rice noodles, gluten-free and all. Sweet chili sauce, some sesame teriyaki marinade. I had a bunch of corn left over from yesterday, so I put corn in there, some bell peppers and some onions. And then I have my favorite tea ever. Alright, so why I went vegan? Here goes nothing. And quick trigger warning, I will be mentioning suicide in this video. It's pretty sad, but it has a happy ending, so yeah. Alright, in true JT fashion, I'm gonna go back to like the prequel of the story. I eat so ugly, so just please forgive me. Okay, so May of 2013, I graduated high school and I had decided that I was going to make the extremely tough decision to move back to Canada. So I had this whole going away party, did the whole thing, basically said my goodbyes. I realized there were some more people who I had to see and hang out with and say goodbye to before I left. One of those people was my good friend. Let's call him Jace, because I like the name Jace. So Jace and I were super cool my sophomore and junior year, which were his junior and senior year, because he was a year older than I am. We ate lunch together. We even started dating people in the orchestra. He had his girlfriend in the orchestra. I had my boyfriend in the orchestra. We still sat together every day at lunch because we were just that good of friends. The thing with me and Jace is we never cultivated much of a friendship outside of school. So when he graduated and I had my senior year, we did not see each other once for that year. And I just had to see him and say goodbye before I moved back to Canada. So I hit him up and we made plans to hang out. He was gonna come pick me up and we were just gonna chill at his house, you know, whatever. Honey, this is where this shit gets interesting. So Jace pulls up to my house this one fateful morning. I could not believe my eyes. He looked amazing. He had lost about 80 pounds, but it wasn't just a sheer physical transformation. It was the confidence. The confidence and the joy that I saw on his face. I was just, my jaw dropped. My jaw dropped. Can you guess what happened? Jace and I fell in love. It was one of those amazing things where it starts off as such a good friendship that it's just like a natural transition into a relationship. My whole life, I had always believed that you will find your soulmate and they would complete you. So when Jace and I started dating, I was just on cloud 9, like the happiest I'd ever been in my life. A little bit of foreshadowing though. About a month before Jace asked me to be his girlfriend, I didn't have a job or anything. I just graduated high school, so I was just watching Netflix and it was like no matter what I put on, nothing was exciting me. And then I just started sobbing. I called my mom in hysterics, just like sobbing. Like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why I'm crying. I don't know why I feel so unhappy. It was crazy, but it was just this one weird episode of just sadness, like despair. And then I went back to normal. And then Jace asked me out and we were just on cloud motherfucking 9. I'm not that good with gluten-free cooking, so stuff like this still happens to me. Get away. So moving to Canada, that was over with. There was no way I was going to leave the love of my freaking life to go live in Canada. No way. I was starting a new life. I had different options. Then about 1 month into our relationship, the butterflies kind of went away. And I didn't wake up feeling like I was just floating in the air. It really freaked me out. I was like, what's going on? This is my soulmate. Where's that sense of completion? Is it like, aren't we supposed to complete each other? That moment was definitive for me. I was such a romantic, and I know it sounds crazy, but that dream was so thwarted that it triggered a complete existential crisis. And I started to wonder, not just why do we fall in love, why do we date, how do people stay together? Why are we alive? You know, what's the point of this life? That question turned into a major depressive episode. I was extremely depressed and I did not see a point at all to live. And I really just held on because of my family. I was convinced that life was pointless, but I felt like, well, at least they're not convinced that. And I don't want to be the reason that they feel the despair that I feel. And then Jace, he really carried me through a lot of that. I was really, really tempted to end my life. So I started going to therapy. Every night I would sleep in my mom's bed. What else? I started listening to these videos called TED Talks by Teresa Palmer. She's one of my favorite actresses. And I started looking at things like yourzenlife.com. And the biggest thing for me was the therapy. The therapy gave me hope, you know? And that is really all you need, is just a little bit of hope to keep you going. That's all you need. You might not even feel like there is a solution, but you have hope that there is one. You feel what I'm saying? So I went to a doctor to be put on antidepressants. He didn't want to put me on antidepressants. He said, you're young. A lot of people cannot function without antidepressants once they start them. They believe that they cannot function without them. He didn't want that to happen to me. So he put me on a mild medication for panic attacks. Not only was I depressed, but I had anxiety. It felt like, you know when you're walking up the steps in the dark and you think there's another step? Your foot crashes, your heart drops. That's what it felt like all the time. So he put me on a mild medication for that and encouraged that I kept looking up different ways to help with my depression. That's when I found Tanny Raw's. I found Tanny Raw's videos, started watching, listening to her talk about how veganism had affected her. It's a chemical that gets produced in your brain when you eat bananas. Like a natural antidepressant. Honey, I became the banana baby after that. Started watching Tanny, started watching Fruly, and I went vegan. I tried it out, tried to cut out all the animal products. It took me about a month and a half to completely do it. Therapy had helped me so much with regaining my hope, believing in potential, believing in life. Meditation and prayer brought me to a lot of revelations and realizations. And veganism helped to control some of those chemical things that were going on, you know? It really was and is my antidepressant. Now, I'm at a different place in my life, and I do believe that if I did eat dairy and such, that I probably wouldn't trigger some depression relapse. But over time, the ethical aspects and the environmental aspects really became a huge part of veganism for me. But that's how my veganism started out. I was very sad, I was very sick, and I needed help. And veganism really, really helped me. And here we are. 2 years later, a bowl full of pasta that I cannot fit anymore into my mouth, a cup of tea, and me, and you guys. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. I'm sending good vibes. I love you so very much, and I hope you have a vegan day. The amount of finessing I had to do to get this table in the shot with me, I deserve a thumbs up just for effort.